occurs in the late phases of culture, okay, as a civilization is starting to unravel, okay, and that you can find it again and again and again through history.
Hello, it's November 2024, and this video is inspired by some observations that I've made and others have made as well. And it has to do with tension, people feeling the tension in the air, something in the air. I'm going to start off by sharing some stories. I'm going to combine it all into maybe just like one story, but you'll get the idea in a moment. So over the years, wherever I've been parked, say at Tim Hortons, and for those who are not familiar with what Tim Hortons is, it's like a donut, coffee shop, restaurant type of thing. Very popular in Canada. And if you're not from Canada and you come to visit, make sure you go to Tim Hortons. But anyway, I digress. But even just say parked like I am right now, outside of one or whatever, I've had people come up to me, they see my vehicle, and it definitely stands out because it's made for wilderness survival, whatever you want to call it, off-roading. And that's how the conversations usually start. And then what I find very interesting, this observation, for example, people will lean in towards the window and almost whisper, as if, you know, there's a secret going to be told, and you know, there's people listening and watching, whatever. And they'll say to me, you know, something inside of me is compelling me to prepare. And they'll look at my vehicle and say, yeah, something like this, and be all geared out to survive and stuff. And they would say that they've never in their life had any interest in the outdoors, not all people, but some, or off-roading, or camping, or anything. They have this urge, there's something inside of them driving them to prepare for something. And usually I'll respond by saying, well, maybe you should listen to whatever that is inside of you telling you to do these things and prepare, or whatever it is. And they look at me like, yeah, you're right. Like, for me, it's a no-brainer. But people, and here's the point with this, are feeling there's a tension, or there's something about to happen or going to happen worldwide. People have talked to me about, well, I don't know where to go. Like, they don't want to stay where they're at, whether it be city, province, or state, or even country. Where do I go? I just have this feeling that as a descriptive, impending doom is coming, and they don't know where to go. And what can you say to that, other than stay where you are, because you're very familiar with that environment, wherever you are, and maybe prepare for that. But it's been really interesting over the years talking to random people, and I've talked to a lot of random people from all walks of life, from all parts of the world, from the homeless to the very wealthy. And some of these people have the same gut feeling, you want to call it that, intuition, whatever, to prepare. Now, what's also interesting, I've talked to a lot of people who have no interest in any of this. They think it's all foolishness, it's stupid, whatever, which is fine. But this video is really highlighting the people who have this drive to prepare for something. Again, as they're feeling there's something about to happen, and there's a lot of tension in the world across the board on every single topic. Some people think, oh, well, it's some election that's coming up, or it's going to happen, or has happened, or this war or that war, or this event or that event. There's something, there's some tension, but what a lot of people fail to grasp, that this tension is worldwide. It's not exclusive to your country, your state or province, your city, your own people, your own culture. It's happening all around the world simultaneously. And that has to tell you something. And it really has to do with the cycles of civilization and the patterns within. Anyway, I've talked about that in other videos. And not only prepare like with stuff, but prepare for knowledge. People who have never had interest, for example, in survival, are even watching Les Stroud and Survivor Man, watching those videos, trying to see what they can learn. They're like, I've never cared for this kind of stuff, but here I am. So people, some people, because most people are not, some people, these people are wanting to prepare. And we even see this with people who, for example, are single, men and women, looking for a companion, a mate, a love interest, whatever, because they're realizing that something is going to happen and they don't want to be alone. Now, I've said in a few videos, and I did many, many years ago, a survival video, how the biggest thing that causes someone's demise in a real life survival scenario, say out in the wilderness, you're stranded in the wilderness, is their own minds. Most people cannot cope with being in their own minds, with their own thoughts. That's why we have so many distractions today. People are not comfortable with it, and people start to go a little bit crazy, a little bit bonkers, whatever descriptive you want to use. And they just perish. Now, if you're comfortable in your own mind, in your own space, being alone, then perhaps you may have an advantage, but there's other things that could hinder you with survival. But I'm not trying to be negative here. The point is, there's people who are now really searching, even after many, many years, perhaps decades, wanting to find someone, because they don't want to be alone with whatever's going to happen. And you can pick whatever apocalyptic scenario you want, whether it be economic to UFOs, and even from religious perspectives. Something is coming, something big, something very altering. And some people are feeling that. Now, these people, over time that I've talked to, some religious, some not religious, nor belief systems or anything else, they're perhaps even atheists, we'll say, but they realize there's something coming. There seems to be no pattern to who is feeling these things. It's just, at least from this earthly perspective, something random. You could say, if you want to look at it from a more spiritual side of life, as a descriptive, something divine saying, hey, prepare. And I've talked to religious people and people in belief systems and so forth who don't care, they're oblivious to it all, they don't have that feeling, which is interesting. And it's interesting to see how many people who claim to be awake or religious or something, and they're really in tune into spirituality, but they don't see past whatever limits that their religion, their belief system, or whatever has put them in this little box. But oh, they're right in tune. So what can we take from all this? Well, I've said, just survive. That's the meaning of life, is survive. Survive as long as you can without compromising yourself. Be prepared, overcome, adapt, and move forward as best as you can for as long as you can, again, without compromising yourself. And by no means is this implying or stating that you have to resort to violence or anything else, not at all. When you look in as a descriptive of the animal kingdom, in the wilderness, for example, animals will avoid conflict at all costs, even predators. And predators will assess if a risk is worth it, and more times than not, a risk is not worth it. Say, for example, to get food or something. It's only the human species that seems to go against all these things, and that's a whole different tangent. But all you have to do is survive. And interacting with people in discussions regarding the events that began in 2020, and people sharing their stories on the hardships and the sacrifices they had to make, for example, with not complying with official narratives or whatever was being imposed, and people saying this is what they went through or had to sacrifice. Well, for one thing, it's a testament to their character that they stood their ground in whatever way. But it also shows the difference between some people and most people. And when a lot of these people sharing these stories, they're really broken, we'll just say, shattered in some cases. But perhaps them going through these events and surviving these events was preparing them for something else, something bigger perhaps. Now, if you're one of these people that feels something that I've been trying to describe, then great. And if you're one of those people who going, what the hell are you talking about? Well, okay, that's fine as well. You take what you will from what I'm sharing here. There is a tension in the air. You can say cut it with a knife, and all you have to do is survive, and that is the meaning of life. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And this video is inspired by some wow. Hello, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Listen to this and write it down if you can't remember it. You're never going to outgrow warfare. You simply must learn to fight. I hear people saying to me, oh, when is it going to get easier? When you die.